First tonight, we start with the votes to fire Superintendent Earnest Winston. WCNC Charlotte Shamaria Morrison was at today's meeting. She is live now outside of CMS headquarters. So, Shay, walk us through what led up to this decision.
Well, there were a lot of things the board said that they found that he just wasn't meeting the mark on. And former Superintendent Earnest Winston was not at this meeting, but he did send an emailed statement from his personal email. And I'll read it to you. It says in part, "I end my service as superintendent the way I began it, centering students and their needs. I will continue to be an advocate for young people, an active and engaged parent in CMS, and a staunch supporter of public education." And Winston now joins a decades-long list of other superintendents who couldn't quite make it past their third year.
So that passes 7-2.
Many CMS board members say the decision to fire former Superintendent Earnest Winston did not come easy.
It has been a difficult decision to end the contract with an individual whom we hold in such high regard. Ernest Winston cares deeply for CMS.
Ultimately, they attributed his inability to execute key goals for his departure.
Respect for Ernest Winston does not preclude me from reaching a decision that new leadership is required.
Winston will leave the district with more than $500,000 in severance pay. Not everyone agreed with his firing.
That this has been a spectacle ramrodded by Elise Dashew that was not thoughtful nor aimed to be productive for this district of 74% minority children.
Personnel records released after the vote say Winston's 2021 performance evaluation dropped, quote, significantly lower than the previous year. It also listed several things the board viewed as failures by Winston, including his response to sexual assault allegations at Hawthorne Academy of Health Sciences, paying anti-racist speaker Ibram X. Kendi thousands of dollars to speak at a staff retreat, and his response to academic performance issues.
No parent or faith-based group who has decided who our interim will be, nor will they decide who the permanent replacement will be.
The board will start a search for a new superintendent in the midst of critical budget talks. Now, Winston didn't directly address any of those claims that were made by the board in his emailed statement, but he did leave everyone with this, and he said, leading an organization responsible for educating children through the pandemic has been the ultimate challenge and one from which I have never fled. Shamaria Morrison, WCNC Charlotte.
Shamaria, thanks so much. The Board of Education's decision to fire Winston comes after a tough few years for the superintendent. He was selected to lead the state's second largest school district back in 2019. Now, after just a few months on the job, he faced the challenge of trying to move nearly 150,000 students to virtual learning. Then last summer, the district faced increasing pressure to address reports of sexual assault cases at both Myers Park and Hawthorne Academy. Winston then had to deal with a spike in violence after dozens of guns and knives were discovered across district high schools. In an effort to keep students safe, the district ordered clear backpacks to show what students were bringing into school. But just before they were released last month, it was revealed that those bags had chemicals in them that could cause cancer. Tonight, reaction pouring in surrounding Winston's firing. WCNC Charlotte's Jesse Pierre live outside the government center. And Jesse, you spoke to some parents who made it to the meeting today. How did they react?
That's right. I did speak to several parents. Now, again, the meeting was announced yesterday and it happened this afternoon. And although it was a public meeting, some parents feel that, with less than 24 hours of a notice and it being in the middle of the day, it didn't really give a chance for parents to really get here. Now, for some of the parents who were here at the meeting, some of them tell me they were frustrated because they weren't able to address the board.
Don't feel like there's been a lot of clarity in the process. Don't feel like there's been transparency in the process.
All those in favor of
the CMS school board voted to terminate Superintendent Earnest Winston's contract out of convenience during an emergency meeting Tuesday afternoon.
Why such a quick decision, not giving him a real opportunity to make change? One person did not put CMS into the state that it's in now, but it does seem like one person has taken the fall for that today.
CMS families.
Winston was hired as superintendent in 2019, leading during the challenging pandemic, but learning gaps in academic performance became a major concern.
We believe that a different leader is needed to shore up this district and place our students on track to achieve high goals in literacy, math, and career and college readiness.
Some parents say they are concerned about the lack of steady leadership in the district.
The turnover being so high, my kids are going through a school system with no plan in place that constantly changes. You can't expect grades to consistently increase.
While some welcome the change.
We are looking forward to a new leader taking over who's hopefully focused on student outcomes and improving them, narrowing the gap.
Now, one thing that was constant among all the parents that I spoke to is they tell me that they are looking forward to the upcoming election, adding that the board will also have to be held accountable for their actions. Live outside of the Government Center, Jessie Pierre, WCNC Charlotte.
Jessie, thanks so much. Many of you sounding off on our Facebook page. We thank you for joining the conversation there. Susan says she thinks that Winston is being blamed for things out of his control. Christina says this wasn't surprising and just a formality. Several others say the issues within the district are much deeper than just the superintendent. And again, we want you to join in. Let us know what you think. Go to our WCNC Charlotte Facebook page. We are staying on top of this big story all evening long. Coming up at 5, we're going to take a deeper dive into who will be leading your kids as the acting and interim superintendents at CMS. We're also explaining the school board's role in all of this and what goes into all of these decisions. Then our Verify team looking into what's true and what's not about that vote.